Welcome to Life in the Fast Lane with myself and Matt Tift. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I'm down in Florida again. I feel like I never leave the state of Florida. I'm good. How about you?
I am not in Florida, so not good.
You're in Ohio. Yeah, I thought you represent Northeast Ohio.
I do, but what does that have to do with being on a nice beach?
I'm not on a beach.
Where are you?
I'm in Lake Placid, Florida.
That doesn't sound fun. It sounds like the beginning of a horror movie.
Well, they did actually have a movie in the 1990s about Lake Placid, but that was Lake Placid in New York with a man-eating crocodile up there.
Oh, a man-eating crocodile. So we are back live on time for the
On
second
time.
show for the second show of the week.
Wait, Keith, round of applause. Everybody, round of applause. Tyler, round of applause. We're on time.
Okay.
Keith, clap.
Thank you.
Clap.
All right. So here's the thing. You're an idiot.
Well, that's an understatement, but thank you.
All right, we have a lot to talk about tonight because it's only an hour show. We don't have a whole lot of time because Matt likes to talk the whole time, which is fine. You're allowed to. It's your show. Just forget that my name's attached to it too. And we want to talk. Well, you want to jump right into WandaVision, or do you want to talk about some other stuff? What do you want to talk
We have
about? You had it.
86,400 seconds until the show is over.
So do you want to talk about WandaVision, or what do you want to talk about?
Sure, let's get into it. Yes, so, all right. Keith, how caught up are you on it?
I have not watched a single episode.
Really?
Wow. That's why
Okay.
I figured if you, because we can't give. This is the only problem about talking about shows like this. Like when we were going to talk about The Mandalorian,
Spoilers.
there's spoilers alert. But when is that? Like when is enough time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what can we say?
I feel like Mandalorian is safe now because enough time has passed.
Sure.
But WandaVision is fresh. So we won't do any big spoilers because Keith hasn't watched it. But the big debate that Keith and I have is Keith agrees that Marvel movies are better.
Yes.
But Keith, on the small screen, and I agree to until now, the DC small screen shows have been better than Marvel.
Sure.
This might be the one that changes it for me, honestly,
You think
because WandaVision is absolutely incredible. Because it starts as a sitcom. They go through all the eras of 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up until today. And what's so cool to me in the show is the way that they act. I mean, Keith and I have done some acting. The way that they act and direct the show literally is in tune identically to the era they are in, with the commercials they do, to the housewife in the 50s, to the 80s and 90s of like punk rock and things like that. Like it is so, even the 2000s, they kind of act like The Office a little bit, which is funny. And then they go into Marvel, like the whole big situation of what's going on, which I won't spoil. But it is one of the best shows I've seen of going through eras and talking about some early Avengers with Vision, one of the earliest Avengers before they were even called the Avengers. And it's cool because, Mandalorian tied a lot of stuff back into Star Wars and missing gaps.
Sure.
And what this show does is it kind of ties those things in about, Captain America is like 150 years old now. We don't know what's going on with, obviously Iron Man's dead. But this ties in a lot of things between the Age of Ultron and the newer Marvel movies and where it's going. It's the first time they've done a very, very good job about going to the small screen and showing it in a setting that literally changes every episode. In the first episode, you don't know what's going on. It's 1950s sitcom, like housewife and husband there. And it just seems kind of stupid, honestly. But then once you get going, it's like, wow, this is incredible directing, incredible acting. And then it eventually goes into legit normal Marvel stuff you know and love. But then it jumps right back into this world that they're in. So it's really fascinating. And again, the debate we've had, Keith, is that, DC has done really well in the small screen, but Disney Plus, I think they have a problem before this last year because they had to have The Mandalorian to keep people in tune, had to have it because, that's the only thing people would have it for. Then they cancel or they charge like $30 for people to watch Mulan who had the service already, which is just ridiculous.
But are we talking Disney? You don't like Disney Plus?
I love Disney Plus, but they have to have consistent content coming out. If you just say, here's all the Disney movies, and by the way, here's your Disney shows, but you have to pay $30 for them, I have a problem with that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I no, they
So
need steady if they're going to compete with Netflix and stuff like that. And we haven't really hit on like the big streaming services or anything
right,
like that, but Netflix obviously is for the movies, Hulu is for the TV, and Disney Plus is kind of that balance of okay, it's all
right,
of our prolonged, like basically listening to our shows that we used to watch growing up, or at least when I grew
yep,
up. Those are ancient to you, honestly. But like the shows I used growing up or watched growing up is all on Disney Plus. But
yep.
then if you look at like WandaVision and stuff like that, and even The Mandalorian, whatever original content Disney's going to have to put out, they're going to have to do it quick to keep up because The
Yeah.
Mandalorian took way too long to come out, and Disney saw like a huge loss of subscribers.
Right. So, and this is another deal. I don't know how many episodes are in the show,
Right.
but they're going to have a similar problem. I know they're doing the adventures of Boba Fett at the end of The Mandalorian. They announced that. But yeah, I mean, they're going to have a big problem with that. So this is the first time I've seen them kind of go, okay, well, we're branching out from Star Wars and from The Mandalorian. I went to Disney this last week. So it's weird because they're so slow with things. They're doing so much with Epcot and with these other parks, but
Right.
you go to Universal and it's like state of the art, everything. And Disney, it's like, this has literally been the same since I've been 5 years old. Yes.
Yeah, no,
I
absolutely.
mean, it's just, yes, Keith, I know that wasn't that long ago. I get your joke. Ha ha.
I didn't even say it. I didn't even make the joke.
I know what you're thinking. I saw the slide, remark there.
Damn it.
There's that smile. There's
We
that
got-
smile. But okay, one thing I do want to say though is actually back to NASCAR a little bit. So go check out the WandaVision show. My wife doesn't really like Marvel very much, but we binge watch it in one day up to episode 7, which is live now.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's crazy. But Netflix has a new series featuring Kevin James called The Crew. And this is the first time that NASCAR has done a sitcom style show. So I like acting. I like NASCAR. So it's the two of them together. It's very interesting because Formula One, they did a full out documentary, like building the Browns of like the behind the scenes, the epicness behind Formula One. NASCAR, I think eventually will do something like that,
Right.
but they've come out with a sitcom show. So it's kind of interesting because, I mean, the show's decent, but it's, it's something very, I mean, it's a good show, but it's a good sitcom show. But it's very interesting that NASCAR is now trying to get into the mainstream of putting things on Netflix.
No, yeah, you're. The only thing is, so you said this is the first time they've done like a, like an actual sitcom type show. It's absolutely super funny. Like, I mean, it is. The show's great. It's got
No, it
Kevin
is very
James in
fun.
it.
I mean, anything with Kevin James is funny.
I was gonna say, anything with James is funny. But I guess my question is if they're gonna start breaking it because they're trying to open up. That's what NASCAR is trying to do with this sitcom.
Yeah.
They're trying to just like they did with Talladega Nights, just like they did with with what was
Days
that
of Thunder.
movie?
Yeah.
Right. Just like what they did with that. They're gonna try to open up to a new type audience, which is what which is honestly what NASCAR needs to do because again,
For sure.
I through talking with you and being able to see things that definitely I wouldn't have been able to see if I didn't know you. It was super fun to watch NASCAR after becoming invested in it in a sense.
Sure.
So by having these shows on, dude, they're brilliant for doing stuff like this.
Yeah.
And to attach their name to Kevin James is even more brilliant because then it brings in a whole list of Adam Sandler, David Spade.
Oh, it's his whole crew at that point.
Right, which is absolutely intelligent that NASCAR did kind of do that. Them putting it on Netflix kind of surprised me a little bit.
But I feel like it's a forward-thinking move because we have a new TV contract that comes at the end of 2024 going into 2025. And I think there's a lot of stuff going on to say, okay, how does NASCAR do on a streaming platform? How does it do on Peacock, NBC's streaming platform? How does it do on Fox, whatever they're going to create? Or is it still good live? So I think in the 2000s, you look back, obviously in the 1980s, 1990s, you had the creation and release of Days of Thunder. And that was a huge, huge deal. Still talked about today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, great movie. I just watched the Golden Hour, the making of it. They literally put cars in the race from Rick Hendrick. They had to have cars in the race. They pit every 100 laps to replace the cameras. They legit raced the cars in the race. Like, unbelievable. Never knew that.
Yeah, no, that is pretty incredible.
But in the 2000s, you had Talladega Nights, you had Herbie Fully Loaded, you had all this stuff and buzz around it. So it's a very good thing, I think, that they're looking at the same with the current regime of leadership, and they're saying, okay, we need to get back to the mainstream somehow. So I applaud them of taking the step to go, where are people at? They're on Netflix. What they want sitcoms, they want shows that are quick to be able to binge watch. I think it's a great move.
No, I think it's a good move too. I'm just surprised with the popularity that Kevin James has that they didn't try to put it on basic cable first. So not basic cable, but your CBS's, your ABC, whatever they have affiliate with,
Sure.
I'm sure. But I'm just surprised because Kevin James does have that live TV. You know what I mean? Like he has that TV appearance. Granted, he's great in movies. I'm not saying that at all. But he started out, King of Queens was one of the best shows I think I've ever seen.
Definitely.
And then you look at what he's accomplished since then. So that like NASCAR attaching themselves to that is insanely intelligent. It's just I'm surprised that they went a streaming service before they did try to put it on CBS or something like that.
Yeah, I got to wonder on that how well it would be perceived in a Fox or NBC setting, though, because they're their two TV partners.
Right.
I just wonder if they went the route of we should put it on Netflix to binge watch it to get with the my age group of people between 18 and 25 or younger to go watch a show. I feel like that's probably where they went with it because I mean, we know it as much as anybody being now in the acting industry.
Sure.
There's so much stuff for original content going on Netflix, on Hulu, on Amazon Prime. People need that content. So I bet Netflix paid a pretty penny to go make that deal there.
And that makes a lot of sense too. Go where the money is because they probably put I mean, just having James in it, period, is probably a large investment. Right. To be the face of it. And as the show grows, because it is a funny show. Like I don't know how if they focus group this or whatever they did, but it's a funny ass show. So if you have if they do get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you do have those type of actors as the face of NASCAR, you're bringing in hundreds of thousands of new fans by the year that like the Happy Madison production group, and that's kind of what they did.
Yep. Well, I think the other part of it too is looking forward with this. I wonder where they go as far because I don't know how many episodes they have for the season.
Sure.
But I mean, they put a lot of money into it on Corey LaJoie's car this past weekend. They had it as their main sponsor. They had it on the main Netflix page as the number one thing like to click on. So obviously they paid a lot for that. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of things they're doing right with it. My thing is with a show like that, how do you build the story and how do you keep on going? Because there's been movies about it. There's been stuff like that, but there's never been an ongoing story with it. So I wonder how long it goes and how long it continues, because this is definitely something that's very, again, uncharted waters with them really, because they've never done a episode by episode sitcom show.
Right. Well, the only thing is we've talked about this before, off air, on air, whatever. We've talked about it before. Is that a scripted NASCAR show like that, especially if it's a comedy, probably isn't too hard to keep going if you think about everything that's involved on a daily basis. Again, I was only there at I was only with you for a fraction of the time, and half the time I'm on the phone with you. I get how busy it is. I get how busy you are. That's what the show is. You know what I mean? It's like this guy being busy, and it's crazy. It's crazy to think that, I think it could go on as long as, honestly, Kevin James. I think a lot of it is going to have to do with Kevin James, as long as
he's obviously the star of the show. But what's funny about it is they're going to the pit. That's a bar that they go to, and that's so realistic because everybody in Mooresville, North Carolina, goes to the same 3 or 4 places. Like that's legit right there. Very common stuff. But the other thing too, I found was funny was, they put in little terms in there talking about the with the shocks like rebound and compression, and going to little things in there that Keith, you wouldn't know what they are, but I know what it is.
Well, sure.
But they put in little snippets in there that's like, we don't really know what this means as script writers, but we're going to put it in there. And they actually did a good job for people who have no idea what it is to be like, okay, that actually fit in here. But I just find it funny because they're trying to do their homework. And so they did actually, give a decent shot to try and do stuff with it. And then we were in Daytona last week, and Kevin James did the command to start engines there. So that was pretty cool too.
No, that's absolutely awesome. But I think my thing is that I don't think NASCAR would let them have it's going to be a comedy, right? I mean, they have to have funny parts in it, but I don't think NASCAR would let them write in wrong stuff. Do you know what I mean? I think they would. I think NASCAR has probably a bigger hand in the writing and what's allowed to air than we both probably think. So if they were sitting there doing stupid stuff, I get it. But there's a difference between doing stupid things, you know what I mean, and then going, oh wait. Let's make Kevin James is naturally stupid funny, but we have to at least make sure he knows what he's doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's what they're doing with the writing, which is why it's so good.
Yeah. Well, even between him and Catherine, the new team owner who comes in there, um, it is very interesting because her new school way of thinking about looking at budgets, looking at taking it like a business coming from Silicon Valley. That's what we have with a lot of new teams coming in. Then you have the old school guy, Billy, who owned the team. I think his name is Billy, or maybe it's Bobby. And you have his ways of doing things. And it's funny because that is the struggle in racing right now of what is old school and what works now. And then Kevin James being in I was old school, I was a driver. How do I adapt to these engineers and these people who never did anything in the marketing? Like, he's making fun of the marketing team, which is so funny because in so many small teams nowadays, that's the deal, is you have to be able to understand that. And a lot of small teams don't, that you have to think forwardly and progressively, which, as racers, we don't always want to.
Right. No. I mean, and yes, I agree with you. So, I mean, it's I guess we spent more time talking about that show than I originally anticipated. But but the only thing is, I'm glad because it shows like that. Again, that's what I'm talking about. They're trying to put a centralized. They're trying to uncentralize their fan base and go, we want the people from over here. And if you watch NASCAR, you realize that it's not just a bunch of left turns, but you are, I mean, obviously, especially the road course, but you are not, like, once you get into it, you're invested in it. So if they're able to find relatable characters through, like, Kevin James and all that other stuff, Talladega Nights, all that stuff, if they're able to find, a face of their media, I guess, half of it or part of it, then you're going to start to see the fan base rise. You're going to start to see more shows like this around NASCAR, around other things. And I mean, even just having fun shooting stuff about NASCAR, I'm sure they had a blast doing it. So I hope the show goes on. I hope they keep Kevin James. I hope Kevin James and them have some kind of at least good working relationship with it, because the show could go on for season. I mean, it could be a Seinfeld,
Right. Yeah. No, you never know. I think the weird thing about all this is, if you look back to the 2000s, they're talking about Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr., and all these guys literally in rap songs, in general pop culture. That's gone away. So that's got to come back somehow. So I think NASCAR realizes that, and they have a whole LA team that works on this. So but I think that's where they know they have to come back and be better with to reach a different demographic and a new fan base. And I think they're doing a lot of good things. And even like a shameless plug here, but our sponsor, Motorsport Games, when they talk about making video games, what do you think of when you play a NASCAR game? You turn around and you go and wreck the field, you go have fun. So putting those elements back into video games, into movies, into TV shows. Sure. When I say NASCAR, when I say I was a race car driver or a NASCAR team owner, they go, oh, like Ricky Bobby. Like, that's the first thing people think of. Like, that is such a big deal that you have to be able to have relatable characters in normal, everyday household names of movies that go into real life too.
No, I think that's 100% right. But I think NASCAR is doing that. You know what I mean? Like, you were talking about, like, some of it going away in songs and stuff like that. I totally get that. They probably want to bring that
They're
back
trying to bring it back, I think, like just being the popular. I mean, now you got the New Orleans Saints running back. He just sponsored a race.
Pitbull you got himself as an owner.
Yeah, you got Pitbull. You got Michael Jordan in there. I mean, it's growing a lot where it never grew before.
Right, and that's what and a lot of it happened during COVID too. Like, if you really want to know the truth, NASCAR exploded because NASCAR did take a conservative-ish approach on something, and they were basically saying, come together instead of being all panicky and scared and nervous. Yeah. And NASCAR was actively trying to give entertainment back to people when we were literally, we were down and out. And I think they were the first sport to attempt to do that. And so
they're the first sport back.
That's what I mean, and I think a lot of people respected that. As I'm stuck in my house or quarantined or whatever, people had to do that I didn't do. And as we were, moving forward, we didn't really have entertainment. You didn't have that type of thing. But NASCAR was the first one back. They're pioneering new things. Did you notice that?
Yep.
I mean, honestly, NASCAR is trying to make a splash.
Right. And they have not done that since the 2000s. So you look at the Confederate flag ban, you look at the social justice issues. NASCAR, we know what NASCAR's core fan base is. They took a giant risk at changing all these fundamental stereotypes about NASCAR. And at the end of it, they were the one sport that stayed flat and not lost ratings.
Yeah.
That is the only sport in 2020 that did it.
Which is amazing in itself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because at the time, people didn't want politics; they just wanted to watch something. And NASCAR came back and gave us that ability. You know, where you could take a break from the crap that was going on, and kind of refocus it on something. That's how I think you guys got a lot of fans. But putting Kevin James in that situation for whatever they're doing was the smartest move, I think. And they made it a good show. It was something that I believe is going to run for a while.
Right. Yeah. No, it's funny because one of the memos we got as drivers and owners and stuff like that before the year, they said what NASCAR needs is people to show their personalities, and doing stuff like this with a podcast, with doing the acting stuff for me, doing the show for those guys, having Ryan Blaney and Cole Custer and Austin Dillon on the show. They're branching out in ways that weren't previously done. And I think that's so different because they know they have to branch out. They have to do different things. And, you used to have Jeff Gordon. He was in the Looney Tunes movie. He hosted Saturday Night Live. So who's going to be the next Jeff Gordon? Because he was the one who transcended into the mainstream. Who's going to be the next guy? I'm excited to see who that is because it helps everybody.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right. Which is totally awesome that they are jumping on board and doing stuff like this, because they are going to have to stay there. I mean, it's just like anything else. You're going to have to, keep things fresh. You're going to have to keep things new. And by bringing in the drivers and doing exactly what they're doing, I think NASCAR is on a better course than I think a lot of people expected and or thought. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And
yep.
and that comes as a shock to a lot of people. But I mean, you guys did it right. NASCAR did it right, and I think that they deserve to be. I think they deserve what they're getting now. I think that the spike in fans, the new team ownership, the fresh stuff. I really believe that they're doing a good job in how they handle that and what they're doing.
Definitely, yeah, no, for sure. Well, I think we have some other topics we want to cover after a little bit here, but I think one of the cool ones is we're going to get some fan interaction here. Is talking about Keith and I will reveal ours. But talking about our favorite movies and cartoons from different genres. So think of some of your favorite cartoons that we both grew up with or still watch now. Because I'm just thinking about this. There was, I remember watching King of the Hill, and there's an episode in there from Bobby, where he's talking about Jeff Gordon in there. So again, mainstream stuff talking about NASCAR. I just remember that scene for some reason, but we're going to get into that later in the show. But again, it's cool to see NASCAR taking that step. And then back to, Disney Plus and these streaming services and what they're doing. I'm going to be so interested to see in the next 3 to 5 years what TV landscape looks like, because we've all, taken away the cable now. So what does that look like? Because 3 years ago, did you really think we're going to have all these streaming services and everything like we do, or Hulu TV, anything like that? I mean, nobody would have guessed that. So where are we going to be 3 years from now?
I think TV is going to. Well, let's take a quick break and then we'll touch on that.
Okay.
But we'll have our fans answer. You do have some interaction in the chat room. Before we take a quick break, I always want to shout out the people who are here. Chris Keller, glad to have you in here. Crystal Jason is in, but this time she identified herself as just Crystal. So I think she got tired of me saying Crystal Jason. Not, but it's her Crystal Jason, but it's her Crystal. So we're good. She also loved that about NASCAR. That's kind of what we were talking about, how they're trying to get, more involved in just everyday things. So when we come back, we're going to talk about adult cartoons-ish, probably maybe some SpongeBob. You like SpongeBob. You use a lot of SpongeBob references.
Absolutely.
But we will hit on all things animated when we come back. Animation, I can't say
Domination.
That. I don't think I can say that, right?
What?
Animation Domination. That's Fox.
Sure. No, but that's Cartoon Network. I don't know.
Is it Cartoon Network?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's Fox. It's Fox.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you're right. Sunday Night Animation Domination. You are correct. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. I forgive you. I'm usually right, but just to hear you say it and now it's recorded makes me feel even better.
I acknowledge it for this one time and one time only.
Let's take a quick break. We come back. Oh, wait. Before we take a quick break, while we take a break, you should take a break and go check out our Patreon. Go check out our Teespring, which we will put in all of the comment sections wherever you can see this. We are also being aired on Twitch now, which is fantastic. We are live on Twitch, so if you're watching,
I didn't know that.
Twitch, I know I was gonna surprise you, but
you just did.
Good.
Wow.
Good. So if you're watching via Twitch, make sure you share it, so that way we can get the views up on Twitch as well. We're on YouTube. Share everything. Share the pages. Go check out our Patreon. Check out our Teespring. Check out the comments. Think about what cartoons made you you. We'll be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to Life in the Fast Lane show with myself, Matt Tift, and Keith Meiger. So we were talking a lot about NASCAR and the crew and some other things going on. And one thing I wanted to touch on before we get back to some of the comics and adult, like Family Guy, stuff like that for shows.
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on today something kind of cool. So I saw on Ellen Tube something with a female, participants in NASCAR, and another story that came out today on today.com was Tony. I'm gonna butcher the last name, but her name is Bridinger. She is NASCAR's first Arab American female driver to race at Daytona. So she's 21 years old. So awesome job. Congrats on making that. Very cool to see new females enter the sport. Haley Deegan, she's been a big name coming in into NASCAR. But then there's something on Ellen Tube, which is like Ellen's TV channel, and is NASCAR's. She's our first tire changer, and she is. Her name is Brandon Daniels. She's a black tire changer for Excalibur Pit Crew. And so cool. I think that, we're seeing this across a lot of sports now, that more females are getting more included and a more diverse group into sports, but definitely cool to see in NASCAR. Haley Deegan is the forefront of it right now. We had Danica Patrick before,
right?
But I think it's really cool to see more inclusion, more diversity in NASCAR. And I hope that continues to grow. Ourselves at Live Fast and Other Sports, we have a female GM. We have a female communications manager. Our everything with our logistics is run by Natalie. She's fantastic. So we have a lot of females in NASCAR that are underrepresented in what they do and make the sport go around. So it's very cool to see that being more put out there and more drivers being involved in it.
Sure.
Pit crew members now, like that's as big as I think being a pit crew member is as big as joining a football team or baseball team, whatever. That is so cool, and just hats off to them. It's very cool to see in our sport.
Yeah, no, for sure, absolutely. Hey, real quick, while we got a decent-sized audience, make sure you go over to the Patreon, check out the Teespring, share. Make sure you follow at Keith Meiger 1. Make sure you follow at Matt_Tift, so we can get everything, stay up to date with the shows, the episodes, and everything we do. Talk about diversity. I do have, I guess the question that I think is on everybody's mind when you do talk about diversity and bringing people in. It's like ESPN with their, female reporters now and stuff like that. How does NASCAR, how do the drivers actually feel about that? Not that I'm not talking about you as a driver, because we all know how you are. How you obviously just said how you felt about it. But how is it going along with the sport? Is it better? Is it worse? What's happening?
So to me, I first would look at, the Bubba Wallace situation. So, he has Michael Jordan out in the sport. You have DoorDash in there. You have Columbia Sportswear. Right. You have McDonald's more involved. So to me, there's big things that draw more attention to NASCAR, and that's the personalities, and that's sponsorship and manufacturers. Right. So if you can't have the manufacturer, you got to have the personality or the person behind the wheel. NASCAR was huge with Danica Patrick in there. So Bubba Wallace breaking down the borders of an African-American man being in NASCAR is a very big deal. We know he's been in there for a while. I've raced against him, great guy, but having a black driver in there that is now in a competitive ride, a very big deal.
Sure.
So for the female side of it, I would say that's still somewhere where NASCAR is trying to build and improve in there.
Sure.
We've had a Drive for Diversity program for years in NASCAR to develop drivers. Daniel Suarez, he's from Mexico. There's a lot of, and Kyle Larson, he's half Japanese, came through that same program. So there's a lot of people that are getting into NASCAR now that were parts of these programs. To me, I think the biggest thing is if they, cross their T's and dot their lowercase J's, what happens there is they bring more eyeballs to the sport. They bring different sponsors, different people. We're all picking from the same, the same pool. If they bring in more partners and people outside of the normal realm of eyeballs that watch it, or sponsors that participate, that is good news for the sport no matter what. And I think it helps break a lot of stereotypes. And overall, no matter what, I think that's good for the sport.
No, I think it is very, very good for the sport. I think it's good for anything when you start to do that. Yep. So not just the sport. We're talking about women in the workplace and everything else. It just makes sense at this point. There's certain things that women do that are way better that
Oh,
than
absolutely.
what we
Yeah,
can
of
do.
course.
They're more organized. They're more. I think it's been a long time coming, but seeing the diversity inside these places when it comes to females is fantastic.
Well, it's hard in NASCAR, right? Because it's not going to play soccer. It's not going to play volleyball. It's not going
Sure.
to play baseball. It's such a specialized deal that you really have to have a special interest in it, which makes it even more cool because it's not a common thing to start with, and then having females involved in it beyond that is an even bigger deal, in my
Right.
opinion.
No. You're definitely not wrong. You're not wrong at all. All right. So before we jump into anything else, you want to jump into? Let's go with some animation.
Yes.
Not so domination. There we go. Animation,
Right.
not so domination.
So, with that being said, I want to touch on this before we get in there because
Yeah.
we're talking about WandaVision and Marvel going retro.
Yep.
So we talked about on the last show about Spider-Man, the multiverse, things like that. What I find really interesting is now all of a sudden you have all these big, DC and Marvel going back to the comic books, going back to the animated stuff from that. So.
Right.
I was never a big comic book guy, but the WandaVision comes from the comic books of Marvel. So something kind of interesting that I was not expecting to be taking off as much. I guess they need new stories, but at the same time, kind of cool to see that coming. But yeah, Keith, what are your top 4? Animated shows? They could be adult animated shows. They could be kids. What were they?
Top 4. I mean, if I were to go top 4, I would have to go. South Park is probably the number one cartoon across the board. It's just, I mean, there's a reason it's been on for so long, just like The Simpsons. The reason it's been on for so long, but the I think the number one go-to cartoon anymore is South Park. When you reach a certain age, you just know South Park. You've watched it. I'm sure you have. You've seen it.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure even they did something with NASCAR. I think they were making fun of it, but they did
It
something.
was still
with
great
it.
though.
Huh?
It was still great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But that's what I mean. Like, South Park is just, and it is not a family show. I'm not saying it is, but they purposely go above and beyond to break political barriers. And I think that's what we need, especially now. The political correctness coming from South Park.
They make fun of everything in an equal way.
Oh, yeah, 100% they do. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like, if you get offended, you just don't watch South Park. And they don't care if they offend you at all anyways. They have enough of a cult following. They are not going to get shut down anytime soon. They're not going to get canceled because they don't care. They push that barrier so bad and so heavy that there are times when you sit back and like, oh my God.
It's a little cringy sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, dude, you watch it now and you're like, holy crap, what did they just say?
Did they just go there? Yeah.
I mean, but you've had, like, South Park was really one of the first cartoons that did it. Like, granted, you did have, you had The Simpsons and stuff like that, but I mean, holy crap. You know what I mean? Like, they just push that boundary. And so when you first watch it, you're like, I don't know if I'm offended or if it's really super hilarious, but I want to keep watching it.
Draws you in. Yeah.
It does. So, I mean, okay, so after South Park, I'd have to go, you had to go with the classics. I grew up on The Simpsons. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You watched The Simpsons every Sunday. They were part of, before animation domination was a thing. But my number one, I'm going to go with my number one above South Park and everything is definitely Bob's Burgers.
Oh, love it.
Dude, is the best. Dude, Bob's Burgers is one of the best cartoons. Fight me about it, dude. Bob's Burgers is the best.
I'm not going to fight you. I agree.
Dude, it's the best cartoon out there right now. They're making movies. I've watched probably.
Wait, they're making a movie?
Huh?
They're making a movie?
Yeah, there's gonna be a Bob's Burgers.
Oh,
it was, dude. I know. I was so excited. It was put in the halt. Like they halted it for a little bit, but then they went ahead. I guess production, began on it again.
Nice.
Bob's Burgers is one of those shows where it's you can watch it with your kids. You know what I mean? There's not it's not too raunchy, but some of the jokes it's so well written. Like Bob's Burgers is gonna be it should end up being a cartoon just like King of the Hill, just like The Simpsons, just like South Park, just because of how well written it is. And I love everything Bob's Burgers. Like it does. Like I collect Bob's Burgers stuff. I've watched every single episode so much.
You got one more. What's your fourth?
I'm not a fan. So people are gonna get mad at me about this, but I am not a Family Guy. Like I just don't
really.
Like no, I just don't like it. I don't know. I don't like. It's not that I don't like Seth MacFarlane because I would have to say my fourth is probably American Dad, which is
interesting.
I think Seth MacFarlane, I guess the old episodes of Family Guy were fantastic, were awesome, But then as you start to creep into the new stuff, I'm talking like 2018, 2017 plus, just seems like the writing went down. He was focused on too many different things.
Ted.
You know what I mean? What?
Ted.
Yeah, he was focused on Ted. He was. I don't.
We had like
think
4
he had
shows
it.
going on too.
Well, and the Orville. Have you seen that? That's
Yep.
a sci-fi
Yep.
show. Have you
Yep.
seen it? Do you like it?
I've seen a couple episodes, but my family, my dad and my mom, they love Orville because they're big Star Trek fans, so they're big fans of that.
The only thing is, I don't hate it. I've watched a couple. In fact, me and Tyler sat down and watched a couple of them. I was not expecting it to be what it was.
Right. Okay. So what do you think about American Dad then? Because to me, I'm the opposite. I love Family Guy, but I don't like American Dad.
You want okay? So I think American Dad. You've seen, and they make fun of a certain political group, which is okay because I think it's funny. Like, I mean, and whether I belong to that group or not, it's still funny. You know what I mean? Like, it's still hilarious.
Well, they almost do the opposite.
They do. They absolutely do the opposite. Well, they are. You know, Family Guy is ultra liberal, and then American Dad is ultra conservative. But it's just, I think the way they play on things, and I'm not like Roger. I'm not huge on him, but I do like the way they. I guess the writing style. I don't know. It's just it's more. I think Family Guy has a lot of crude humor, where American Dad still has that same crude humor, but I guess develops it a little bit better, maybe because it's fresh.
You like the stories more in there.
Yeah, I guess the story, the character development. I never got into like Stewie or Meg or Brian or Peter or Chris or anything like that. But I was, I got into Roger and Steve and everybody else. So, I mean, I guess those would be my top 4. And Family Guy is not in there.
Interesting. Okay. I got you.
So what do you got?
All right. I'm going to go number 4 at Rick and Morty. I definitely like that.
I probably should have put Rick and Morty in it. Dude, it's hard to
It is hard
because Rick.
It's very hard.
All right, time out. Have you seen the new show? And this is just me.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Solar Opposites.
Yeah, so I haven't seen it yet, but I know it looks the same as Rick and Morty.
Dude, you have to watch it. You have to watch it. The story. No, here's what we're gonna do next week. Or no, Tuesday. Yeah, so next week, Tuesday.
Yeah,
we are going
Rick and Morty Solar Opposites show.
Oh yeah, dude, you have to binge it. You have to watch it because we have to talk about it. They're not even. I don't even know if they're developing it into season 2 or not. But
I'm sure they are.
They better, dude. It is.
If they did with BoJack Horseman, they'll do it that.
Oh yeah, dude, and it was absolutely fantastic. Solar Opposites was the raunchiest. It was almost worse than Rick and Morty, if you want to know the truth.
Wow.
But it's like that gross, disgusting adult humor that you can't have children within a 50-yard radius from you, so that way they don't hear it. But it's so good. So the producer Tyler just said season 2 will come out March 26th of 2021.
Wow! So in a month.
Solar Opposites, so not bad.
Yeah, 1 month.
Yeah, makes me excited. All right, so go ahead. So your top is Rick and Morty. Why Rick and
Morty? So number 4, Rick and Morty, because I just like the adventures. I'm a big Back to the Future guy, so I know they kind of lightly base it off of that. Yeah. I love Morty. Like I love Morty. Like Morty's. How can you not like Morty? So then number 3, I would have to say South Park. That's like I'm going to sleep, I need to watch something show, and I just find it hilarious. But that is my relaxation. I've had a stressful day. I just want to watch something funny. That is my number 3. My number 2 is going to have to be Bob's Burgers. Same reasons you said. Just love it. Like you said, it's family friendly. It's hilarious. I love Bob because I love that whoever's the guy who voices him, that he's an archer. He's in the Arby's commercials. Like the dude is just like he's everywhere. But it's so funny because I can't not think of Bob or I can't not think of Archer.
What, when you're watching Bob's Burgers?
Yeah, like the voices are just like everywhere.
The only thing is, I haven't really seen Archers.
Oh, Archer, you would like Archer. It's good. It's like a spy cartoon, but it's the same crude, like insulting humor. You would like it.
So John Benjamin is what you're, or John H. Benjamin is
yes, thank you. H. John Benjamin. Yep.
Who is in he's actually in a lot of stuff. Like
a ton, yeah.
Like he really is. He's in a lot of stuff. But Bob's Burgers, like if you actually break down episodes of Bob's Burgers, so I do the same thing with The Office, right? Like if we were to, and we'll do this maybe next week, top 5 sitcoms or whatever. Yeah. But if you break down Bob's Burgers like you do The Office, you find out that you get so involved in the characters just because Tina's so outrageous, it's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, I love Tina.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
And Louise, like her and Louise, and the whole and Gene, they all make the show. Like it's such a good group. Whoever does the show,
Oh
like,
yeah.
it's fantastic.
Oh, it absolutely is, and it has big name people in it. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
they keep it refreshed and refreshed and refreshed, which I thank God I appreciate. But it's
Yep.
just like it's really it's legitimately good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely. And then my number one, I have to go with Family Guy.
You have to go with Family Guy.
Yep.
I don't know if I can do that.
So to me, I just find the earlier seasons, not season one, but season 2 to like season 7, 8, or 9 are just absolutely hilarious. The last season that's come out has kind of gone back to their original humor. So I think they knew with the move to ABC because they're coming off of Fox.
Right.
I think they knew they had to put more attention back into it. You are absolutely right, though. There are some junk seasons of Family Guy.
There are some junk seasons of Family
Yes.
Guy, like legitimately junk seasons.
Bad.
But you know what though?
Bad.
You take Family Guy out of the equation, and Animation Domination is still probably the best type. It's just like TGIF when I was a kid. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
Were you around when TGIF was a thing? Or are you?
Yep.
Still.
Yeah, for sure. Not in age, but I know what it was.
Right. So Animation Domination is the same exact thing that we have, that I had growing up. So when you look at like The Simpsons, just take Family Guy out of it, and they're bringing in more shows like Great North, which is another part of not a spin-off, but it's by the same people of Bob's Burgers. So I love it. So what else you got?
That's my number one for adult shows, but my number one for all cartoons is because the first few seasons definitely qualify as adult cartoons, and that is SpongeBob.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. SpongeBob.
There are so many innuendos and adult jokes in the first 3 seasons of that show. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, they're still there. They're still there.
The new season, absolutely terrible, though.
So I just want to let you know that we have 220 live people watching us right now. And it just keeps growing. So, Matt, why don't you give a shout out to all the live people?
Yes, thank you guys for watching. We still are a very new podcast and show, I should say. So, the podcast part, make sure you go check out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, from anywhere you get your shows to go download and listen to when we are not live. Beyond that, we are on Twitter, on Facebook, on Twitch now, YouTube. So we got a lot of people watching this show, and we have a new format with this Tuesday, Thursday, 1-hour deal. We talk about a lot of stuff, and sometimes our shows end up being the fan-guided shows. So we love that. We want you guys to throw in the comments what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. You can put in there that you want to talk about polar bears. We will talk about polar bears.
I'm not going to talk about polar bears, but I'll let you talk about it. I'll let you say. I'll let you say something about polar bears if you feel the need to do so.
Okay. Well, anyways, but yeah, so basically this show is about, of course, racing. It's about sports. It's about pop culture. It's about really anything we want, which is the cool thing about this, because we have 2 shows a week now. We used to do 1 2-hour show. With a new format, we're having a lot more fun doing all kinds of different stuff. Like Keith said, make sure you follow us. Make sure it's at Matt_Tiff, TIFFT, at Keith Miger 1, and then at LITFL show on Twitter, and then share the page, because the more we grow, the more fun content we can do. Also check out our Patreon. We got funny videos up on there, like exclusive videos, and our Teespring with all of our merchandise. So make sure you check it all out, because it is growing. And also, we are looking for sponsors for the show. So if you'd like to come on board or know someone who would, we are looking to go promote companies in here.
I like it. Good job. Good segue, man. So you got a lot of stuff in the chat room.
Let's hit up. We got 10 minutes. Let's do it.
So someone says, "Have you seen Chef?" I don't know. Chief? My bad.
Chef or Chief?
Somebody says, "Cashper, where are you guys based?" So I'm out of Ohio, and you're out of what?
Yeah, so I'm originally from just south of Cleveland in Hinckley, Ohio, but now I reside in Huntersville, North Carolina, just north of Charlotte.
Just north of Charlotte. I like it. All right, so we wanted to hit on a couple of other things, I suppose. What I guess we're the new thing since Xbox is down. This is great. I think Tyler had something to do with that, which is funny. But
wait, what happened?
The Xbox is down. The Xbox servers. So everybody
really
here. Yeah, I like it.
I did not know that.
I did because I tried to play something.
Okay, well I did not know that.
It's all good. All right, so what else we got on the line here? What about video games? What's your top? We got 10 minutes. What's your top 4 video games?
Ooh, I don't know about top. Well, okay. I'm gonna start with number 1 this time. Okay. Go down the list.
All right.
Number 1 is Grand Theft Auto, the entire franchise. I mean, how do you beat it?
Your favorite Grand Theft Auto is your number 1?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Grand Theft Auto is my number one. I don't. There's.
Well, that's fine. We'll get to yours later. This is my segment now.
I don't care. Yours sucks. Pick better.
I'm fine. Whatever. I mean, what better way to blow off some steam than go jump out of a helicopter, explode 3 buildings, and not get arrested for it in real life?
I mean, yeah, you psychopath. But I mean, I guess I don't need to do that. I don't know. I like Grand Theft Auto. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying like.
Whatever. I'm excited to see. Well, it's been way too long between 5 and 6, the new Grand Theft Auto, because it'll be like 2024. They're still pumping out stuff that was literally put out for that game when I was in high school from the last version of the game. So please get a new game for us. My goodness.
I mean, right on.
Number 2, I'm going to put that as the Madden franchise. We all know it sucks.
Hillis.
That would be you.
That I don't even like it.
Okay.
I don't play Madden. I'm a baseball guy. MLB the Show.
You're right. I play Madden 19 a lot. We all know Madden never changes anything or does anything with the game now. I like Madden 19. Third would be, I love the NASCAR Thunder games from the 2000s. And of course, we have NASCAR Heat as a sponsor now. So make sure you guys go check them out. But just from childhood, Dirt Daytona, NASCAR Thunder, those games are so awesome. You get to build your team. You have to go wreck a bunch of cars. You got to go build like from the bottom up in your career. So I'm glad that the new games, they're starting to incorporate that stuff again. And then fourth, I would have to say, I'm a big sports guy in there, but so I would say 2K. But honestly, I'm going to go with Fortnite because my wife loves it. We love to play together with friends. Just a fun game.
Fortnite's not awful. I mean, Fortnite's not a bad game. So some of them are okay.
Yeah. What about you?
So my number one game has to be MLB The Show. Like, I play like Road to the Show? I play the hell out of that game. I'm a big sports guy, and I'm a crappy gamer. Like, you do not want to play first-person shooters with me because you will hate me by the time I'm done.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm bad at first-person shooters, but sports games I'm okay with. MLB is probably that's my go-to game. You want to talk about blowing off stress and having some type of relief?
That's my Madden.
Down and Road to the Show is probably the best thing in a video game that I've seen in a long time, and other baseball games suck. But I did hear that MLB The Show is now coming over to Xbox. So
really?
That's a thing, yeah. Because I was playing, obviously you got to play it on PS4. It was like kind of exclusive to Sony for a while. So that's probably my number one game. Outside of that, I have to go with I'm jumping from console to console, but I'm gonna have to go with probably StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm 2 and 3.
What is that?
StarCraft is, oh my god, it's an old. I mean, I don't want to say it's old. They still, there's still people playing it, but it is old. It's it's like Age of Empires on steroids. I don't know if you've ever played Age of Empires before, which is also a great game, Age of Empires. But when you bring out like StarCraft old school, I mean, I love it, and it's a Blizzard game. You know what I mean? So it's well made, it's well put.
I think
Blizzard
Blizzard's
does not listen to their fans at all whatsoever. Oh, dude, Blizzard's horrible when it comes to their fans. Are you kidding me?
I don't know.
Oh, dude, you can do anything and Blizzard doesn't give a damn. Like, you can have an issue, you can want something changed. A million people could want something changed, and Blizzard will not care. They just want, and I'm not saying Blizzard is a bad company. They just don't give a damn about the fans. They want to make their money. They want to continue to put out games that they think, like Overwatch is probably up in my top 5. Has to be between top 5 and 4. But a lot of these games are made by Blizzard. Blizzard has like a monopoly on the franchise of everything, of the not franchise but the industry. So if you look at like what Blizzard's done and you look at these different games, they don't care. Like, they do not care about their fans whatsoever. And that's not a way to run a company based on consumer product.
Gotcha. No, I don't know enough about the developers, so that's interesting. All right, what's number 3?
Probably Overwatch. I'd have to go with Overwatch. I probably spent many days playing Roadhog as Overwatch. I still love Overwatch to this day. I think they're coming out with a new one. And probably my fourth, I don't know. I would probably have to go with probably something. Probably one of the Batman franchises, games that I play Arkham or something like that. Because I'm obviously a huge Batman fan. But
between that stuff and Battlefront, those are all just classic games.
Yeah, games that you expect. You know what I mean? Like, everybody plays Call of Duty. Everybody's going to play Battlefront. Everybody's going to play all that. But if I'm going to sit down and play a game and want to actually,
you're going to pick,
right. Jake Watt says hello. I think we can say hello to him. He's got a nice
What's up, Jake?
What's up, Jake? I like it.
Are you Jake from State Farm?
This is not Jake from State Farm. I
Oh,
promise you.
I'm
it's
sorry.
not Jake
Did
from-
you realize? Did you recognize that Jake from State Farm in the beginning was like this nerdy little guy, and now Jake from State Farm is like this freaking yoked dude?
Oh yeah.
Like he's next to Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, and Jake from State Farm is the strongest guy there, without a doubt.
That's
Like
funny.
Jake from State Farm, like is hitting the weights. I saw him in a Hyundai commercial too. Is that legal to go promote a Hyundai and then your insurance on it? I don't know about that. I think there should be some rule there.
Oh, no,
That's double dipping. Double dipping.
Oh, 100%. 100% it's double dipping.
But I mean, good for him. But I mean, come on.
So well, let me ask you this: if you were to play one game, what would it be? Like if you only get one chance, you get one game to play for the rest of your life. What is it?
Madden 19.
Really?
Yep,
You're picking Madden 19.
I am. Yeah, because I've been playing for like the last 3 years, so might as well continue.
Chris Price says his top game is GTA 5,
See?
Forza Motorsport 7, Forza Horizon, Battlefield 4, and NASCAR Heat 5, and then Fortnite. And he said, and for
Very
a
nice.
bonus, the Crew 2. Those are all good games. Need for Speed is an underrated game, I think, anymore too. Like I love
Yeah.
playing.
Well, the old school Need for Speed.
Brian Rogers says Wadsworth, Ohio fans in the house. Good
Nice.
to have people in here. So we're actually getting ready to end the show. It's been an hour. I mean, time
It has
flies
been.
by when you're doing it. So guys, since he said, hey dude, my real name isn't Jake, it's Luke. This is my backup account because I lost my old one. Well, we'll give Luke a proper shout out. Luke, how you doing? Guys,
Hello,
if you
Luke
could-
from Allstate.
No, it's not Luke from Allstate. But if you could follow us at KeithMyGirl1, take the time to follow us at Matt_Tift. Check out our Teespring that is in the stuff. We do a live show every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. Somebody put some Total War game for me. Total War, yep, there you go. We got a lot of good people in here. We had a big show tonight, man. Huge
Sure
show
did.
tonight.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Again, share the show at LITFLO. I'm sorry, LITFL show on Twitter. Make sure you go follow it, Life in the Fast Lane show. And again, like we said, next week probably talk a little bit here about sitcoms. Sounds like we'll have some recaps from Homestead Miami with our team from Team Live Fast this weekend.
Yeah.
And we are working on some big guests coming on the show in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And yeah, we'll catch you again every Tuesday, Thursday, right here, 7 to 8 p.m. If you don't catch us, we'll be on all of your streaming platforms.
That's right. We'll be doing some giveaways and stuff like that too because Matt is the famous Matt, Good for you. I don't have anything to give away. I signed something, I guess. But I don't think anybody will want it. But make sure you check out the Teespring. Support us. Support the page. Support the podcast. We are looking for sponsors still. So if you know anybody or you or yourself a company that wants to be in front of all these people, let us know. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Mark us down. Favorite us. We are live every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 8 p.m. It was awesome having everybody in here. Awesome having some new people in here. We will see you guys Tuesday.
Peace.